Hello everyone and welcome to Study IQ English. I'm Joycey Joy and we are discussing the 10th chapter of Economic Survey 2021-22 which deals with social infrastructure and employment. So in this chapter, we will be discussing the final part. Already two parts are already done with. So if you have missed them, please do watch the previous videos. And this is going to be the last video with regard to Economic Survey of 2021-22. We have already discussed the overview, India's health response to COVID-19, trends in social sector expenditure, then educational sector. We discussed about major initiatives for students during COVID-19 pandemic. Then we discussed about higher education, skill development, trends in employment. That is the next topic. So next is trends in employment. What are the different trends seen in the employment of the employment sector in the country? Now, coming to trends in employment, first coming to trends in urban employment, and this is using the quarterly data of PLFS, that is Periodic Labour Force Survey. So this is using the quarterly data from Periodic Labour Force Survey. Now, in the first quarter of 2020-21, the unemployment rate for urban sector rose to 20.8%. In the first quarter, that is 2020-21 financial year, first quarter, Q1. Now, first quarter of 2020-21 is very important because that was the time when the COVID-19 pandemic affected the country the worst. So, first quarter of 2020-21, unemployment rate for urban sector, that is in the urban area, unemployment rate was 20.8%. The labor force participation rate and the worker population ratio in urban sector also declined significantly. So these three are the indicators. The first indicator is UR, which is the unemployment rate. Then second one is LFPR, labor force participation rate. Third is WPR, that is worker population ratio. So all these three indicators showed a negative sign during the first quarter, that is Q1 of the 2020-21 financial year. Now, what is a worker population ratio? Worker population ratio is defined as the number of persons employed per 1,000 persons. So, number of persons employed per 1,000 population. That is worker population ratio. With the revival of economy, that is revival means recovery from a depression or from a recession. With the revival of the economy in the subsequent quarters, that is in Q2, Q3 and Q4, the other three quarters of 2020-21, all three labor market indicators showed a swift recovery. So what are the three labor market indicators that we learned? One is unemployment rate, second one is labor force participation rate, and the third one is WPR, which is the worker population ratio. So these three are the indicators. So in all these three indicators, there was a positive recovery during the revival of the economy. Now coming to trends in urban employment using the EPFO data, EPFO payroll data. Now the EPFO data is not just important from the perspective of calculating employment or unemployment, but it is also important in the sense that the EPFO data also gives us an idea regarding the formal employment generated in the economy. So what is the rate of formal employment in the economy? EPFO data covers low paid workers in medium and large establishments of formal sector. So it covers the low paid workers in medium and large establishments of the formal sector. So two things that we get from EPFO data. One is formal sector employment or formalization of workforce, and the second one is that unemployment rate. These two things can be worked out from the data. The net addition in EPFO subscriptions is an indicator of the extent of formalization of the job market. So the net addition, how many new workers or how many new members are added to the EPFO net. This gives us an idea regarding the extent of formalization of job market. How much the job market has become formal or how much addition is there. and the coverage of social security benefits to the organized and semi-organized sector workforce, because EPFO deals with employees provident fund, and provident fund is one kind of social security benefit for the employees. So addition of new employees or workers into the EPFO gives us two indications. One is what is the extent of formalization of job market. Second one is the coverage of social security benefits to the organized and semi-organized sector workforce. The net addition to EPFO subscriptions turned negative in April to May 2020. That is during the Q1 of the 2020-21 financial year. So during the first quarter, it was negative. With the unlocking of economy, that is easing of restrictions after the lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic. After unlocking the economy and easing of restrictions, the EPFO subscriptions bounced back swiftly. So the EPFO subscriptions had gone down during the first phase of the pandemic, especially during the first few months, that is the Q1. But later we see that the EPFO subscriptions has bounced back very swiftly, very fast. Next is the trends in data on demand for work under the MGNRG. This is trend. This is the trend in data on demand for work under the MGNRG. Demand for work under MGNRG is an indicator of rural labor market. Why? Because MGNRG is a wage employment scheme for the rural India. So it is an indication regarding the rural labor markets. The MGNRG employment peaked during the nationwide lockdown. Why? Because during the lockdown, there was no opportunity to do economic activities outside. Almost all the sectors of the economy was completely locked down. So during that time, during the nationwide lockdown, the MGNRG employment peaked. It was the highest. The demand for MGNRG work has stabilized after the second COVID wave. So demand for the work has stabilized after the second wave of the COVID. Till then, there was high demand for work for the MGNRG. Aggregate MGNRG's employment is still higher than the pre-pandemic level. Even now, the aggregate is higher than the pre-pandemic level. For many migrant source states like the MGNRG employment in most months of 2021 has been lower than the corresponding levels in 2020. So this is regarding the migrant source states, that is the states from where the large number of or maximum number of migrants move out in search of work. In contrast, the demand for MGNRG employment has been higher for migrant recipient states for most months in 2021 over the year of 2020. So this is regarding the migrant recipient states, that is the states which receive the highest number of migrants. So for them, the MGNRG employment was very high in demand. Long-term trends in employment using the PLFS data. This is using periodic labor force survey data. Between 2018-19 and 2019-20, about 4.75 crore additional persons has joined the workforce. So this is according to PLFS data, an addition of 4.75 persons. About 65% of additional workers joined in 2019-20. They are self-employed. So the additional workers in 2019-20, of the additional workers that has joined, about 65% is that of self-employed. About 75% of female workers who joined as self-employed are unpaid family labor. This is very important. This clearly shows the gender disparity in labor force. That is, about 75% of female workers that joined the workforce, they are who joined as self-employed, they are unpaid family labor. This clearly shows how much gender disparity do exist. About 18% of additional workers were casual laborer and 17% were regular wage or salaried employee. So of the total addition, about 18% were casual laborer and 17% regular wage or salaried employee. Close to 90% of the additional workers were in the informal nature of employment and more than 98% were in the unorganized sector. So about 90% of additional workers, they were in informal sector and 98% unorganized sector. We will clearly see what is the difference between informal sector and unorganized sector when we start taking the conceptual classes. So this topic, informal sector and unorganized sector, definitely we will go through. Of workers added in 2019-20 shows that more than 71% were in the agricultural sector, of which females accounted for about 65%. So maximum addition, about 71% were to agricultural sector. And trade, hotel and restaurant sector, it accounted for over 22% of the new workers. The share of manufacturing and construction declined in the percentage of new workers added. So in case of manufacturing and construction, the share of new workers added were less, or it declined. Now coming to the policy responses to boost the rural livelihood. First is incentives for job creation. Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana, it was announced as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 3.0. Next is wage employment. Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan was launched. All these schemes we will go through in detail when we discuss about the schemes. Then boosting self-employment. Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihoods Mission were launched. Next is for social protection, Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, National Pension Scheme for traders, shopkeepers and self-employed persons. And then e-Shram portal. So all these are schemes which we will be taking up separately. I am not discussing all this here because you are commenting, many people were commenting that the videos are getting so much extended, the survey videos. So if I go through each and every scheme, it will further get extended. So schemes we will take separately. Coming to health sector, these are the schemes and the government initiatives in health sector. Ayushman Bharat Health and Wellness Centers, Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, E-Sanjeevani. Remember at least 2-3, each of them we will discuss separately. Coming to health outcome indicators, regarding child health indicators. First one is Poshan Abhiyan, then special vaccination drive like the Mission Indradhanush. Indradhanush is aimed at providing vaccination coverage. Intensified Mission Indradhanush. Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, extended Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. Under 5 mortality rate has declined from 49.7 in 2015-16. Now it's 41.9. It's a positive indicator that the under 5 mortality rate has reduced. Infant mortality rate also declined. Infant mortality rate is below the age of 1. Earlier it was 40.7 per 1000 live births in 2015-16 and now it's 35.2% per 1000 live births in 2019-21. Stunting has declined from 38% in 2015-16 to 36% in 2019-21. Then wasting and stunting has already been discussed when we discussed about malnutrition. So I am not discussing it again. Wasting also declined from 21% to 19%. So all these are giving a very positive outlook. So with regard to under 5 mortality rate, infant mortality rate, stunting, wasting, all these are giving positive indication. Now next is life expectancy. Latest estimates of expectation of life at birth in India available for 2014 to 18. Life expectancy at birth was 69.4 years in 2014 to 18. Now, there is a gap between rural and urban life expectancy. It has narrowed down. If you take from 1970 to 2018, the difference between the rural life expectancy at birth and the urban life expectancy at birth has narrowed down. And it's 69.4 years in 2014 to 18 period. Females are expected to live longer in most states and UTs, both across rural and urban areas, except for Bihar and Jharkhand. So, except these states, in all other states and UTs, Union Territories, both in urban area and rural area, women are expected to live more than the men. Coming to TFR, that is total fertility rate. According to National Family Health Survey, it shows that TFR has further come down to 2 in 2019-21 from 2.2 in 2015-16. The TFR has even come down below the replacement level of fertility in the country. So TFR, total fertility rate, has come down even less than that of the replacement level of fertility. In all the states and UTs except for Manipur, Meghalaya, Bihar, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh, the replacement level of fertility has been achieved. Institutional delivery has increased to 88.6%. That is, 88.6% of the deliveries take place through institutional sources, that is through hospitals or health centers, recognized health centers. This also, there is a increase, or there is a improvement from 78.9% earlier. Coming to sex ratio has risen from 991 females in 2015-16. Now it is 1020. This is a very good improvement, 991 to 1020. Sex ratio at birth in the last 5 years has grown from 919 to 929. Then one of the major contributors for this improvement in the sex ratio is the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme, which we will discuss separately. Very important scheme. So that is one of the significant contributor. So this is regarding the last chapter of the economic survey, and with this we conclude the economic survey for 2021-22 financial year. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the very best.